Okay, hello and welcome to our presentation. So my name is Nathalie Leuber and I'm Category Manager for Food Specialties at GELITA. And I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Johanna Schmidtger, who is the Head of Application Technology and Product Development at GELITA. Today, we will talk about the trends and important developments with regard to the gummy market, first from consumer perspective, but then also about the hurdles producers have to face when trying to meet those consumer demands and innovative approaches to overcome those challenges. So, first, we start with a little market overview. Innova conducted a consumer survey in 2022, which is, from my perspective, quite interesting with respect to the results for the snacking category. So consumers more and more realize that the diet is a major deal breaker for a healthier lifestyle. And this also changes how they act when taking buying decisions. And what is important for them are first natural products, not only because they prefer them, but also to avoid certain additives in their diet. Furthermore, they also increasingly choose products that boost their overall health, but also reduce the products and ingredients that are unhealthy to them. And when choosing snacking products, consumers also watch out for claims and labels, and here increasingly for health-based claims. In recent times, we also heard a lot about better for you products. But here we can see what this really means to the consumer. So it's not really only a word, it really has detailed meaning. And here we can see that they are looking first for fresh products and natural ingredients, but also for less unhealthy ingredients, as I already mentioned. And this is in specific, for example, sugar, salt, and fat. And those that improve their body functions, like, for example, for immunity and for gut health. So consumers are well aware that incorporating certain ingredients in their diet can have a major impact for them. But of course, this is supposed to be easy and very good consumable. And with respect to regions, what is quite interesting from my perspective is that the topics as such are the same, but they differ a bit in the ranking. So for some regions, the one topic is more important, and for other regions, another topic. So let's get a bit more specific. So when we look here about the supplements in specific by year, we see from new product launch perspective that producers are already taking action as the new product launches of supplements have a very stable 9% CAGR over the years, which is already higher than the average for the whole industry. But, and I already said this, consumers are also looking for easier and better ways to consume their daily supplements, but also to incorporate certain ingredients in their snacking behavior. And this can be seen very good in the new product launches for the gummy supplements, as the growth here is really extraordinary. It has 40%. So remember, the supplements overall have 9%, and the gummy supplements have a 40% CAGR. This really shows that the gummies are a very popular format for supplements. So let's have a bit a look into the overview, so how the market can be structured from our perspective. So first we have the traditional gummy confectionery market. And this is, of course, a very traditional market. It is all about pleasure, about joy. But when we come to health topics, of course, topics like sugar reduction are very important, but also the next one, which is fortified gummies, which in result are less unhealthy and can also improve the health by adding a certain ingredient. And then we move to the dietary supplement gummies, and this is really a very different market also from the perspective where the products are presented in the aisles in the supermarket or in online shops. And here it's very important that we enrich the products with a certain daily dosage that needs to be consumed. So it's not only about pleasure but joy, it's really about ingredients, and the product has a certain purpose. So, and then the last but not least market for us is the medicated gummies, which is a bit more the future. So this is not really seen in the market already a lot, but it's where it's going. So this is where we expect the future markets to go. And here it's really about a medical ingredient that is served via a gummy format. And if we remember those stages we have here, it's very important to mention that the value of the products is increasing a lot from left to right. So I already said it, the products are positioned in different aisles. They are also from the benefits they can serve positioned very differently, and therefore also the value and the price of the products is very different. But, and you can see it here in the arrow, also the complexity of formulation and production increases a lot. So it's getting more difficult if we move from left to right to produce those products and to get the ingredients into the format. And if you remember the consumer survey I talked about at the beginning, one of the topics that was very important is the protein enrichment. So let's talk a bit more about specific topics. So the importance of this protein enrichment trend can also be seen here in the overview of the global new product launches of the confectionery category that claim protein enrichment. So here we really talk only about confectionery and the high protein claims they show. And it's really interesting that we have here a very, very high CAGR of 19% between 2018 and 2023. And this is evidence of the fact that the consumer's mindsets about protein have moved out of the gym and into grocery and convenience stores. And with respect to gummies, incorporating a lot of protein inside in specific is all but easy, right, Johanna?
No, that's not easy. So hello from my side as well. And it's really exciting to discuss healthy trends in gummy formulation. But from a technical perspective, it's often very difficult to incorporate an unknown or unfamiliar ingredients into a gummy formulation. So some developers say up to 15% ingredients, you don't have negative effects in your gummy. But here we would like to show you an ingredients, collagen-based ingredients, to increase the protein concentration up to 30%. So very high. And why you can use this product, or why is this product so successful to increase the protein concentration and preventing the gummies' loved textures and attractive appearance? We will explain you in the next slide. To increase the protein concentration, you need a protein source. In this case, you can work with collagen peptides, for example. However, if the powder is fine, too many issues occur. Dust formation, which can lead to lump formation during the dissolving steps. And this has a negative impact to your product quality. With GELITA's solution or approach, the protein source is modified with the gelling agent together in such a way that no dust formation occurs during the process. This has also a positive effect on 2 points, on the handling in the production and on the dissolution step. As you can see on the next slide. But before we come to this clear solution, I will remember, we have here a modified particle surface. This leads to reduced dust formation. And on the other side, it increased the bulk density. So you need less storage capacity for this product. Beside them, you need less water. And this is really important for the protein and for the gelling agent to dissolve both completely. And this result in the next slide into a clear solution, as you can see here. On the left side, there's a normal protein powder together with a gelling agent. And on the right side, there is the combined new solution. And you can see here the clear solution without lump and dust formation. But Natalie, what is beside protein interesting in gummy applications?
Yeah, so we already talked about it. In the consumer survey, we also learned that people want to reduce the intake of harmful ingredients. And if we think about confectionery, the very first ingredient that is obvious to be reduced is sugar. So the producers are very well aware of this. And this is also shown in the new product launches with sugar reduction claims. So between 2018 and 2023, we have a CAGR of 14%, which is really from the sugar reduction trend perspective, the highest category. And with respect to the gummy formulation, we turn the problem we had before around. So we don't want to increase the content of a certain ingredient, we want to reduce it. And since sugar is not only a function in gummies related to taste, but also to texture and body, this is also very difficult to achieve, especially since consumers also refuse certain additives, and as the texture and the taste should be the same as the original gummies.
Exactly. Reducing a main component by 30% without compromising texture can be challenging, really. So, but there is one solution that can replace the bulking agent and sugar and also gives body to the gummies with very high quality, similar and or comparable with the quality of a standard product. And on the next slide, if we compare it, this solution, it is collagen-based, with other solution, for example, soluble fibers, you can see that this solution from GELITA behaves in the gummy very similar to sugar and guarantee, beside the texture, also the clarity in the gummies.
Okay, so if we move to another category we had a closer look to, we move towards the supplement category, or more into the supplement category. So let's have a look how the products in the gummy supplement space are positioned. Here you can see a comparison of the labeled subcategories within the new product launches between 2018 and 2023. In 2018, a big portion goes to the vitamins and minerals, which is very clear because this is where all started. But then we can see that this portion reduced a lot until 2023, as other ingredients are getting more and more important. And here we can see that the hair, skin, and nail category made it into the top 3 here with an incredible 67% CAGR. And as said before, when we talk about supplements, it's very often about a certain daily dosage that needs to be taken day by day. And this is also the case when we think about collagen solutions that go into gummy formulations. So here we talk, for example, in our case, about a daily dosage of 2.5 grams that is scientifically proven to have a benefit on hair, skin, and nails. But adding so much of an ingredient to a given gummy recipe is really difficult, as we already heard from Johanna. So GELITA made up their minds about this problem as well. And as said, it's really adding a lot of complexity and further production steps if we include such a high load of an ingredient into the gummy formulation. And with standard ingredients, this degree of formulation increases, but then also the complexity of formulation and production. So to me, the demand of the consumers is giving producers really a hard time, plus the quality of the end product is not matching the desires. But what if we could change that? So our goal was to move the degree of complexity to none while ensuring a high degree of fortification. So this is why we developed a special solution, which is ensuring that the daily dosage of the ingredient, in this case Verisol, can be incorporated in just 3 gummies, which is a very reasonable amount of product to be consumed each day. And by this, we can move here our little gummy bear from the right to the left side, meaning that we have really a very reduced complexity of formulation and production, but still ensure a high degree of fortification. And this all by ensuring good quality of the end product, meaning texture and taste.
So GELITA solution enables 33% collagen without problems in existing equipment and with a very high quality at the end of the product by preventing dust and lump formation. So the same story that I told you before. But what is if you want to add other fortification than protein? So there is a new trend in the gummy production, the so-called new process, starch-less process. Is very common. Here, a brief explanation of the process itself. So normally the gelling agent, the syrup and the sugar are dissolved, mixed, and then cooked. After this, the slurry is deposited into starch boards and dried to the final and drying substance over 1 to 2 days. And the starch is reused for the next production. In the new process, you cook directly the final drying substance. You don't need the second very long drying step in the starch boards. You can cast direct into molds who can't absorb water anymore. The fortification you can add before or after the cooking step, so it depends on your equipment and on your API of fortification. And why is this process so common? The reused starch has a high risk of recontamination from batch to the next batch. So the new process uses the silicone molds or metal molds, polycarbonate molds that can be cleaned and disinfected. So a very contaminant-free process at the end. And this makes the new process very fast. So you can demold after hours instead of days because you don't need the second drying step, in the starch. But this was is very hard for gelatin because you need a very fast setting properties of the gelatin. And then you have still the loved and preferred texture for the consumers. With the development of a fast-setting gelatin, it's now possible to work with gelatin in this new process or new technology. The other advantage of gelatin in comparison to other hydrocolloids, for example, pectin, is that you can work with gelatin at lower deposit temperature, around 70 degrees, under 70 degrees Celsius, and this minimizing the degradation of a heat-sensitive API. And gelatin is very flexible about changing in the recipe. It's very tolerant about APIs, very tolerant about drying substance. So this is really a big advantage for fortified gum. But what makes this gelatin so special at the end? If you measure the gelling point, the point where it starts from a liquid solution to a solid state in kind of a gel, you can measure this and you can see in comparison or compared to a standard gelatin that this point is very in the beginning and very much earlier in compared to a standard gelatin. And this secret lies into the molecular weight distribution of the gelatin. But I think to explain this here takes very long. So maybe we're using the rest of the time more to sum up what we have learned or what we have heard in this presentation.
Yeah, right. So we talked about a lot of topics today, but about a lot of different topics today. So let's sum it up. So we talked about protein enrichment in gummies, and here, we explained that different to the knowledge that has been there before. there is a technology with that. It is possible to enrich the protein or to enrich the gummies with a protein content of over 30%, so 35 to 38%. Then we talked about the problem or the turnaround problem, which is sugar reduction. So taking an ingredient out of a formulation. And here we explained that protein is really a perfect bulking ingredient to fill the body of the gummies. So with that solution, we are able to reduce gummies that are have a very decreased sugar concentration. Then we talked about the beauty topics, so talking about gummy supplements and in specific about an ingredient for hair, skin, and nails to be incorporated into gummies, and where it is really necessary to have a daily dosage that needs to be consumed, and how it is possible to incorporate this portion in just 3 gummies, which is very consumable for the end product. And then we talked about new production process, a starchless production process, where it is really necessary to have a special solution for those gummy supplements. And with this, so this is really also summing it perfectly up for those special demands of the consumers that we can see in the market. It's also required to have special solutions. So thank you very much for your attention. Here you can see our contact details if there are any more questions. And thanks for the possibility to have our presentation here today.
Thank you, Joanna and Natalie, for joining me at Confectionery Live. Why did you want to talk about gummy trends here today?
Yeah, so from our perspective, gummies are really special. So the gummy formulations are very sensitive, but we also see a lot of trends inside the gummy markets and evolving very fastly. So the consumers' demands really change. And therefore, it's really a hot topic, I would say, also with respect to the technical aspects, because it's sometimes all but easy to fulfill those demands of the consumers. And there are certain possibilities to overcome those challenges. And therefore, we were really happy to talk exactly about this topic.
Thank you, Natalie. In your presentation, you spoke about all different trends that are happening in gummies. Is there a time or a point where it may no longer be a trend, or it might be something that manufacturers should look at making?
Yeah, so with respect to the gummy supplements, I think this point has already been achieved. So we are already at a point where it is no longer a trend. And this can be seen in the growth rates. So I already stated it. We have here 40% CAGR, which is still huge. But we were coming from CAGRs of 81%. So we already see from market development, from new product launch perspective, that the market is, I wouldn't say saturated. This is too harsh. But it's already coming to a certain point where the growth numbers are not as huge anymore. So we can see that it's more normalizing, and therefore I would say especially inside the gummy supplements, this is not a trend any longer, and therefore it's also very necessary to look into the different ingredients that need to be incorporated into gummy formulations and how technical solutions can look like, also to make it very consumable for the end user, so that they like to consume this product each day, but also to make it handleable for the producers. And here ingredient suppliers can really be an important partner, and also with respect to application technology. And I think this is a topic we love. This is a topic where we are in for decades already, and where we have a lot of knowledge, and we are able to exactly share this one.
It's a very exciting market to be working in. I can definitely see that. You spoke about the different markets, such as fortified gummies, dietary supplements, and medicated gummies. How do you see these markets differing, and where do you see the major growth opportunities in them?
Yeah, so it's all very much related also to the ingredients that are incorporated into the gummy formulations, and it's also very much coming down to the dosage that you have for those ingredients. So for some, it's easier, so you do not have so many hurdles you need to jump over, I would say, and others it's very, very difficult, and there you need different technical solutions. So the differences are more or less from consumer perspective, really the way they take the formulations or the solutions each day. So do they take it each day? If yes, they need to be in a certain way, so presented in a certain way. Because I always say, if a consumer buys a product, tastes it, and doesn't like it, then he will never buy it again. And that's the goal. So the goal of the manufacturers is to have a product in the market that is consumed and loved, and therefore also bought regularly. And if you do not have a solution that has the texture and the taste that the consumers like, then you will not have this result. And therefore, this is directly linked to the technical aspects that you need to understand in order to be able to present such a product. So for me, that's really the biggest difference. So how are the consumers behaving with respect to the to taking those products? So confectionery products, the traditional ones, for example, they buy for pleasure, and if they can have certain health aspects, they are happy about that. But it's not really the reason why they buy the product. But for gummy supplements, it's very different. They buy it because they want to take a certain ingredient in a very enjoyable way. So that's for me the main difference.
You're absolutely right. There's such a small window in which a consumer tastes a product and decides whether they like it. I think it struck me in your presentation, you both highlighted it quite well. The pressure on producers to create a great tasting gummy that is also fortified, that has a low dosage and is easy to take. All of these aspects, could you briefly outline the main concerns coming from producers when creating fortified gummies, for example?
So I think main concerns are, for example, how do I do that? So also with respect to the formulation. So there are a lot of formulation questions. I mean, I think, Johanna, you can underline that as well.
Yes.
And then also how to scale that up on industrial level. So I think those two areas are the most important ones where the producers struggle and where they need help.
And also the stability of the products. So later on, during storage tests, and so this is a big topic because, this is very, very important for, especially if you can come closer to the medicated area, then it's very important.
Thank you both for speaking with me. It was really a great presentation and insightful in regards to how you're helping manufacturers navigate the challenges of gummy production. Thank you for speaking with us again today and shedding the light on this growing area of confectionery.